Oh my goodness, Chuck, is that a sign of a bad thing tonight? Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Yes.
Something bad just happened. Hey, welcome everyone. Tuesday night to the David and Chuck show here on the Enet Sports and Tuscola Football Network, YouTube. We've got some friends that I saw today that don't have Facebook, but they watch us on YouTube, Instagram, and all that stuff that I don't know a whole lot about. So we're on about 6 or 7 platforms. But anyway, Chuck, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. I had a celebration this afternoon of National Pancake Day. Took the wife out to lunch, and we went to Cracker Barrel, and we feasted on pancakes. We celebrated. It's National Pancake Day.
National Pancake, Janet. Today's National Pancake Day. Chuck took Angie out on, and he had a plate of pancakes. So, you know, I don't remember all these things when we were younger. All these days. Do you?
No, I have a website that I go to, and I keep a list of all the cool national. It's National Coffee. Now Thursday's National Beer Drink Day, and so I may not be straight when we get to Thursday's show, but that's
When
okay.
we get to Thursday.
I'm partaking as my German heritage. I'm partaking in the beer.
That's it. And hey, I did want to tell you this. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about our Mountain Seven, but we got a lot of college football, a lot of Major League Baseball. Got a really cool announcement right here in a minute about Spirit Week over in Waynesville. We got a lot of cool things happening. First of all, uh, man, I pulled in the driveway. I've had the back situation uh, since the first game against Asheville High. Thank you, Mountaineers and Jonathan, you turkeys. But it turned really bad Sunday, and Monday I was at chiropractors and doctors, and up this morning at Dr. Gibson's before 6 o'clock at the chiropractor. Uh, Chuck, I messed up and took the wrong medicine and doubled the dosage of what they gave me. And again, I'm the guy that if you did those things, if you broke the law and you sold or you did dope or you did this, that, and the other, that was my job. And as I was sitting in my office, I couldn't even get to the office. I'm sitting in the waiting room of my office. I passed out in my chair in the waiting room, and for about 2.5 hours, you could have come and taken everything we own because I don't know anything. And it took about 11 o'clock to get straightened out. But anyway, the back spasms I'm gonna put on the football team and Jonathan. Dadgummit. But when you text me when I pulled in the driveway a little before 6, it broke my heart. Man, my boyhood hero, number 5, the human vacuum cleaner, the greatest defensive third baseman that's ever lived, Brooks Robinson, passed away today. And that just broke my heart. Man, I love those guys, you know.
Understand that. Know the feeling.
Yeah,
Sad Holy Grail of baseball. Al Kaline passed
yeah,
away.
yeah. And again, we're gonna get into our special announcement right here in just a minute. We've got Stacy Messer going to talk to us about something that's happening here in the next week or so here in Waynesville. But will you tell the story real quick about when we went down to Lakeland and spent a week at the Tiger Spring Training Camp and had a run of the place. I mean, we had a ball, but tell them when we were standing at the batting cage and you turned around and Chuck, who never is at a loss for words, came face to face with someone. I'll turn it over to you for a minute because I think it's a great story.
Yeah, we were Cam Maben, who had played at TC Robertson, the Marlins. He was with the Marlins back then, and he had come in, and so you were chit chatting with Cam, and I was standing there at the cage just watching what was going inside the batting cage, and we thought we were something special. When you got with Cam, because he had to start to get ready, come and tapped me on the shoulder and went, "Look." And when I turned around, right standing there, arm length away, was Al Kaline. And when I kind of looked at him, he looked at me, and I don't know what came out of my mouth, but just jib jabber and all this stuff. And I was telling him,
it wasn't.
this is David, his son's quarterback at Tennessee, and boyhood idol. And David just kind of looking at me like, what? And Kaline said, "Well, that's good." And I'm a grown man. So, I was like, so I just wanted to say hi, Mr. Kaline. And he walked away, and I'm sure he thought that he had met the craziest man.
That was hilarious.
At that point was you looked at me and went, "What is wrong with you?"
Because you never, but again, in our era, and it was different. When I tell people that I loved the Orioles and the A's growing up, I literally loved the Orioles and the A's because those guys didn't go anywhere. They were there. You were a Baltimore Oriole. You were an Oakland A. Reggie Jackson was never supposed to leave the A's. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mickey Mantle didn't leave the Yankees. Brooks Robinson, 22 years in Baltimore. Al Kaline, how many years did he play? 20, 21, 22?
Yeah, it was the same area. It was the same area. He played for one team.
Yeah, and those were our guys. And when I read that text, it just, man, this guy was something. And for those of you who are baseball fans, and even if you're not a baseball fan, if you want to see how one guy took over, and back then this was the biggest sporting event in the world. It wasn't the Super Bowl. It wasn't the NBA Finals. The World Series was everything. Everything. All-day games, everything. Go to YouTube and put in 1970 World Series, Brooks Robinson, and just watch. All you have to do is watch. He single-handedly, defensively, beat the Cincinnati Reds. That's how good he played defense. So, God rest him. My boyhood hero. It'd be like when we lose Reggie Jackson. I know a lot of folks, they're not Reggie Jackson fans. Man, I worship the ground he walked on. Dude, from the way he wore his uniform to the way he carried himself, he was, all that in a bag of chips to me, and still is. And we're friends on Twitter. We've had not really conversations, but we've communicated and talked a couple of times, and I thought that was pretty cool. So anyway, we lost a great one today, and we keep losing those guys. So young bucks, you got a lot to live up to, more than just the way you play ball. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. No, that makes perfect sense.
So I'm going to segue into something that's going to be really, really, really cool. We've got a young lady in the green room, Stacy Messer, and she's going to talk to the mountains, the Tuscola Nation, and I don't. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to say the Mountaineer Nation because I've been told by certain people inside the hill that is belongs to somebody else, and they don't want me to say that, so I'm not going to say it. So, but anyway, the Tuscola family, the Mountaineer family. This is a really cool announcement we're fixing to have, and if I can do this right, Stacy, hang with me. I don't want to mess up. Look at me. I done figured this out.
You did a good job.
Yeah, look at me acting like I'm a big boy. I know what I'm doing. Good evening, Stacy. Welcome to the David and Chuck show.
Yes,
say hey to Mr.
having me.
Fiebernuts. Well, thank you for being here. Say hello to Mr. Fiebernuts in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Well, hello. How are you?
Hey, Stacy. I think are things going to start to heat up there? I think that's what. I think you're going to heat things up there at in Waynesville.
Yeah, we're going to heat it up with a bonfire bash on August the 7th, October. October first bonfire bash last year, and most people from the county came out. There was like 300 people at the
Let me
bonfire bash
stop you.
last year.
Let me stop you for a second. Go back and start over. It's got a little spotty, and the date didn't come out. So kind of start from the
Okay.
beginning again.
Okay. So we're going to have the bonfire bash this year on October the 7th, the Saturday before the Pisgah Tuscola football game. And that just kicks off, it helps the kids get in the mood and kick off Spirit Week and just, get ready for that big game.
Okay, and where is it going to be? And what
It
time
is
and all that good stuff?
the address to the location is 105 Mosaic, Waynesville, North Carolina. It's not Mosaic Road, Mosaic Place, just 105 Mosaic, Waynesville, North Carolina, 28786. It's straight across from the urgent care in Hazelwood. If you know where the urgent care is, just look straight across from that parking lot and you'll see the gate. And we'll have balloons up or something. You'll know there's something going on inside of there because we have it lit up. There's music coming from there. We have the same DJ as last year, Jason Jones. He's going to come, but this year he's bringing his karaoke stuff. So I just thought some of the kids may like to do that. Like some of them can really sing and they can just showcase that at the bonfire if they want to. But he'll be playing music, and then of course we'll have the car. We're going to let the football players beat it again. They had so much fun last year doing that and just taking out some, build up aggression or just anxiety to leading up to the game. They can take it out on that car, and then we all kind of relax by the fire and hang out and just fellowship.
So you beat the car with, you have a sledgehammer?
We usually have 2 sledgehammers going at once. We don't want more than that going at once because we don't want anybody to get hit. So like last year we had the JV quarterback and the varsity quarterback go at the same time, the JV center, the varsity center go at the same time. We kind of like group them together and let them just go in there and waylay on it.
And do you have like those games where you toss bags into what is those?
Cornhole, yes.
Cornhole.
We do. We are needing a couple more families to let us use the cornhole boards. We've only got a couple that have been donated to. They're not donated. We're just borrowing them. You can have them back after the bonfire. But we had about 6 last year lined up there, and they were busy all night long. People were waiting to use them. So that was really a good hit. The same 2 food trucks are coming. Jose's Choco Truck is coming. And then Little Pete's Barbecue that was there last year. He's from the Asheville area. So he's not really known to be set up here in Haywood County, but it was a great surprise. He did amazing. Everybody could just not talk enough about how good his barbecue was. So we did ask him to come back. And then of course, Kona Ice was more than willing to come and set up for the kids. They always love that. And then Josie's ice cream truck is going to come. So there'll be a couple of different desserts to choose from and a couple of different main meals to choose from.
Now, if somebody wants to donate a cornhole bowl board, how do they get? Do they call you?
Yes. Anything that you want to donate or give or use at the bonfire, you can just get a hold of me. There is an event on Facebook that you can go and get a hold of me that way. I don't care to give out my number.
Right.
Whatever we need to do, just get a hold of me.
And what is that Facebook site that we go to?
It should just be under events. And if you go under events on Facebook and then you type in bonfire, we should pop up. There's not many events on there that would have that title.
So you have music and entertainment. And I'm sure if you got music, you got some people just taking the time to dance and all that stuff. And you got karaoke, you got food trucks, ice cream, all that stuff. And then it sounds like you're going to cap the evening off with a bonfire, correct?
Yep. Just the community gathering around the bonfire and hanging out and talking about. This all stems back from my husband when he was in high school. They did this on the hill at Tuscola. Now they can't do that anymore for insurance reasons and liability reasons and stuff like that. But it brought a sense of togetherness to the team and to the school before the game to have this up there. So my husband was, since school can't do it, we will just throw it ourselves.
Good. Well, it
Good
sounds
deal.
like fun. This will be the second time. You did it last year was the first
Yes.
time, correct?
Yes.
Very good.
Last year was the first time, and so this is just the second one.
And if anybody has any questions, you can't get in touch with Stacy, let us know right here on the Tuscola Football Network. We'll make sure that it gets to the proper location, the proper people. And so we're excited. And don't forget, Friday night's homecoming, and that's a big deal coming up this Friday too. So, and we'll talk more about that on Thursday. So, Stacy, anything else you got to say about it?
Nope. Just come out and have a good time, and let's celebrate these boys and get ready for the big game.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later on this week. Okay.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
All right. Appreciate it. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye bye. That's pretty cool, Chucky.
That is.
That's pretty
Big time.
cool.
Somebody
Yeah.
that wanted to create spirit and bring everybody together, thought of a bonfire. That is a unique spirit event. I would love to have attend that. I'll make sure that I give Tyler a call or a text to make sure that he gets a hold of her so he can do a story on it and in the newspaper for those that are not catching it on tonight. But that's the kind of people you want that rally. That's the kind of people you want in a program, a high school athletic program that do things for the kids.
Well, that's awesome. And we're excited to be a part of it and to help in any way we can. Real quickly, when I started talking about Brooks Robinson, I lost my train of thought for a minute. Sutton and Sons Antiques, 3156 Delwood Road. I talked to Mr. Sutton yesterday, and they have an antique pinball machine in there. It works in the whole 9 yards. Man, I love pinball. I love pinball. And the only pinball like you can play now, I can get on my iPad, and they got the little apps with all the pinball machines, but that's not the same thing. You know what I mean? You want the tilt and the smashing and the hollering and the screaming. And they've got so many awesome things in there. They've got replicas of things that you could, stuff that blow your mind. They've got antique furniture that you cannot get anywhere else, probably in this country. Some of it you cannot get anywhere else on this planet. They've got an airplane out front. It's just an amazing place. People that are collectors of old antique things, they've got the antique flint rifles. So they've got a ton of stuff. Just people that are sports fanatics like you and I, they have things in there like the Stratomatics. They got the baseball and the football, and I'll kick your butt in either one of them. I'm challenging you now. So please visit our friends up there. Go to their website and call them. And they are amazing supporters of this program, not just the program that we're doing here, the Tuscola Football Network, but when I say the program, they are amazing supporters of Tuscola High School and in Tuscola football. So please see these folks. And then our good friends at Orchard Coffee, Chuck. I will go one day this week because I'm able to move a little bit more right now. And I will go up there and get you the blend that you're talking about that you want to try. Because I'm sure that Jonathan and Mama, Grammy, Jonathan's grandmother, and my mom will want to try it too. What blend is it? Because we've been drinking Blue Ridge.
It's El Diamante, the Reds. And just think of this, just tell them you want the Cincinnati Reds coffee.
Yes, El Diamante, the Reds. And we will do that. And man, they've got great breakfast food, homemade cookies. Homemade in there. Then they don't go out here and use junky stuff. They go out here and get the hand milled flour. These people, they go above and beyond in everything they do. And then come see me, Crompton's Auto Mart. Go look at my new website, CromptonAuto.com. Look at our inventory. I've got trucks. I got SUVs. We've got 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders, sports cars, sedans, vans. We've got whatever you need. And if I don't have it, there's a place on that website that you can put in the year, make, model of the vehicle that you want Janet and I to go find, and we'll get it. We'll bring it home for you. So we've really cool stuff going on down there. Again, our friends at Orchard Coffee and Sutton and Sons Antiques, we're excited about where we're headed. So anyway, visit our sponsors, please. And Chuck, Mountain Seven. We talked before the show, and we spend a ton of time talking high school football on here, as we're supposed to. But the one thing that we're doing, and at least I feel like I'm doing, is we're kind of repeating ourselves on Tuesday and Thursday night. I don't know how many times I can say, hey, who's going to win the West Smoky game? And I probably, during the week on here, between here and the Saturday show, I probably ask you 4 or 5 times. So Thursday night is going to be more tuned to the actual conference games coming up on Friday nights. But real quick, the games that are happening Friday is Franklin is at Pisgah, West Henderson is at Smoky, North Henderson is at Tuscola. So all the Mountain 7 games are going to be right here in the area, 2 in Haywood and 1 in Jackson. So a lot of great high school football just in our little part of the world on Friday night. That'll be fun, and again we'll break those games down on Thursday.
Got it.
But and I guess that leaves, without me looking, that leaves East Henderson open.
Right.
So okay, so and that makes more sense doing that. But hopefully, from the perspective of Tuscola and Waynesville, hopefully we can get some kids back from the injured list or whatever they call it, from injury, get some kids back on the football field, get some kids back in the positions that they're used to playing, and kind of line them up and see where they go. Football, yeah. Go ahead.
What's the quarterback situation? I mean, it's hard to pull anything. We don't know.
And honestly, I don't know. We. I'll say this with us. You and I do this because we love it and we enjoy it and we want it to be fun. And Jonathan said he wanted to do the Saturday thing because he wanted people to know inside, a little bit on the inside, and see the program kind of from the inside out a little bit. Certain people kind of try to take the fun out of it, so I'll speak to them real quick. It is what it is, if you don't like it and it's not your cup of tea, go drink your tea somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Because we're going to have fun. We're going to promote these kids and promote this program. And Jonathan and Chuck's thing to me is pretty funny. I think it's hilarious, but that's just me.
Well, I've sent 3 texts. What's your quarterback situation? What's your injury list? Of course, I got big leagued again 3 times. Got nothing. That's right. I'm losing my touch, but I'm going to get something secret out of it before this is over with. Yep.
But hopefully they can heal up a little bit and level playing field and compete and see where they go. Because it just gets tougher from here. Because this is a tough conference.
Right.
And I do believe that. I'm not just saying that. I believe this is a tough conference. And again, as we've said every day since this thing started, since way before we did this, and it just got where we kind of figured we were going to be involved in kind of with what's happening in this conference. Everything right now goes through Mills River. Everything. Start in the middle because they are playing outstanding football.
No doubt about it. Scores are dictating that belief. This is the second year in a row, so they've gotten a great group of and talented football players that they have developed in their youth, in their JV years, middle school, and they're shining out right now. I mean, the scores they're putting up rival the 2006 Pisgah team that just hung. Typically 06, and same thing with West Henderson. They run with a running clock in the second half. That's how bad it was, in 06 when Pisgah played, they ran with a running clock all the time. I think it was the 09 Tuscola team also ran with a running clock most of their games during the regular season. So something happening that's very special in Mills River with the West Henderson.
Yep. But hopefully somebody along the line can get them somewhere there. That would help everybody.
Right.
and I love you, Paul. I love Whit. Just a good guy. So anyway, Major League Baseball. Let me check the score real quick before we go on. Still 1-0 in the bottom of the fifth. The Orioles over the Nationals. The Rockies 4, the Dodgers 1. That was a final. That really doesn't matter. The Dodgers, and they've got a doubleheader. They're playing game 2 here in a minute. In Minnesota, the Twins are in the first 0-0 with Oakland. And don't say it, Chuck. Don't say it. It's Oakland. Don't say it. I know it's coming. The Rangers and the Angels, which has big implications in the wild card and in the American League West. The Cubs 2-0 over the Braves. This is big series for the Cubs. They're a half game up for the last wild card spot. That's massive. The Reds are down to Cleveland 7-5. Cincinnati needs to win tonight to kind of stay in the race. If they lose tonight, they could drop the 3.5 out with 6 to go or 5 to go after tonight.
4 or 5. Yeah, after tonight, be 5 to play.
Yeah.
Most teams.
The Royals and the Tigers 1-0. Royals in the fifth. Not much. That's just kind of playing the string out. The Phillies and the Pirates 0-0. The guy from Pittsburgh's throwing a no-hitter through 6. The Yankees and the Blue Jays 0-0 in the bottom of the third, but the bases are loaded. And the Evil Empire. I like Brett Boone, but I think he senses he's gone after this year. And Tampa Bay 3-0 over the Red Sox in the third. We really need, for our bet, it'd be nice to see Boston win. And as you keep on going down the schedule, at 10:05, the Mariners and the Astros, which the Mariners, I will say that tonight is the first must win. They have to win to stay in it tonight. It's not going to eliminate them, but I think like Seattle has to win tonight. Yes, no, or maybe.
Yes. Reminds me of the situation of the last 3 games of the 1987 regular season where Detroit, in order to get into the postseason, had to win all 3 at Toronto. Toronto was in first place. And by a game, and Detroit won all 3. They swept Toronto in Toronto. So it can be done, but you get down to here with 5, 6, 7 games left, everything's a must win. Everybody in contention that can have a reach for the postseason or have a shot is in a must win situation. You cannot drop a game here.
No.
Because you don't know. For example, if Orioles were to lose and Tampa was to win and stick with that, well then you lose a game and now they're 2 games behind you. Whereas if Baltimore just keeps winning, they don't care what anybody else is. Just keep winning, and then pretty soon the elimination will come up around the weekend time.
And we'll go over some scores again before we get off the air. College football, and before we talk AP poll or any of that. I want to go to the FCS poll. I don't mean a slight when I say this. I still call it, 1AA. It's just easier for me to say it that way. And hey, look, we're 4 weeks in, and you got to tip your hat to what's happening in Cullowhee.
Right.
That's big, just a massive win on Saturday. And I know, I know they weren't playing the 67 Green Bay Packers, but anytime you can lay 70 on somebody, you're playing football.
Well, I remind you, 2 weeks ago, Clemson against Charleston Southern was ahead of Charleston Southern 20-17 at halftime. Catamounts, Western Carolina was ahead of Charleston Southern Saturday, 42-7. So there is really special happening in Cullowhee with Kirk Bell and the Western Carolina football team. And it's got us thinking, could this be the turnaround? Could this be the beginning of this turnaround they have been waiting for decades?
And I'm hoping so. And I hope that hopefully, I don't know the schedules and all that, but I would love to have Coach Bell on here and talk about the turnaround, talk about the program, talk about the season to date. And I know he'll come on with us. We just got to get it worked out logistically.
The not unfortunate, but the concern I have is they have to go play winless the Citadel this weekend down in Charleston. And we both know strange things Western could have a good team and go down there and just absolutely lay a pterodactyl egg. And it's just mysterious things happen, turnovers, weird plays, and somehow the Citadel upset Western down in Charleston, South Carolina. So that's going to be a tough play.
I think Western, again, I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win big, but anything down there happens, you are correct in Charleston. They're ranked 21st in the country. This is the first time they put them in the rankings. I think they're better right now than the 21st team in the country. I think they're a top 10 team in the country. Offensively, they are unbelievable. They are really, really good.
So it's they should probably, you look at it and you think, okay, they got a couple teams ahead of them. One they've already beaten, Sanford. So I don't think that the 1AA poll is caught up to the reality of where teams land, but this is the history of Western Carolina, the decades of futility coming to the poll, the voters in the poll.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this is Western. Well, we've heard this story before, and again, it's only 4 games. They'll get, if they run the next 4 games. If you look at their next 4 games, they're pretty tough games. If they win the next 4 and they're 8-0, I could see them, up near the top 10.
Yeah. And the beauty of this is the polls don't really dictate once you get there, because you play to win the championship. It's not like they're just going to pick the 4. Now you got to get to the playoffs. But I think they've got a really good shot. And the Southern Conference is going to have maybe 3 teams in this thing. And it's really neat for me. I'm a history buff. And, college football literally started with Harvard. Harvard was like the team back in the day. And to see Western ranked 21st and Harvard ranked 24th is pretty cool to me. I think that's pretty cool. Again, South Dakota State and North Dakota State are just, they're at the top of the list. And, shout out to the Mars Hill Lions, 3-0. Mars Hill is playing really, really good football. And got a kicking game now to go with all the other things that they've had for decades with those fine with Coach Clifton and that staff. Don't overlook Mars Hill in the SAC. They're coming, guys. And now let me get down here to the Division III poll, and And little Mr. Grumpy, I don't smile much because I'm grumpy and I want to show everybody I'm a grumpy old man. He's probably not going to be grumpy right now because where is Alma College in this ranking?
19th.
You sure they're 19th?
The Division 3 footballpoll.com.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're ranked. I see Alma ranked at 15th.
Oh, they're ranked in 15th there.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
take that.
AFCA coaches poll.
Hey, look, I got spots. I guarantee you. Come on to Alma College. It's the greatest opportunity. It's fun. You play college football the way it's supposed to be playing. Right now, it is. They won against Wittenberg on the road to go 4-0. Their quarterback was one of the top players in the country. Got awarded on the offensive side as Player of the Week. And that is Carter St. John's, a sophomore, threw for 323 yards and was responsible for 5 touchdowns. And David, he was 22 of 25. So, I mean, come on. Alma College, the Scots.
The Scots, baby. The Scots. And they
right.
have a legitimate chance to get. Hey, look, if you get in the playoffs, you have a chance.
Right.
And they're going to
That's
be in the and they're going to get in the playoffs. All right, AP poll. All right, top 25. Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Texas 3, the Buckeyes 4. And look, we both are anti-Buckeye. But, man, they show a lot of guts on Saturday night to come back there on the road at Notre Dame and kind of show Lou Holtz to shut his mouth. And that was pretty cool. Florida State 5th, Penn State 6th, the Huskies of Washington 7th, the Trojans from Southern Cal 8th, Oregon 9th, and Utah 10th. The Pac-12, which is going to be history come January, has the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th ranked team in the nation. And I think Washington is better than that. I think Washington, the two most underrated schools, the teams in the in Power 5 football right now, to me, are Michigan. Even Michigan's ranked number 2, but nobody's talking about it. I think Michigan and Washington could be the two teams that are better than anybody in this country right at the end of the year. I really, now look, they might not win another game, but I believe in my heart that the Wolverines and the Huskies are 2 of the 3 best teams in the nation.
Right.
If you stayed up late and you saw Washington play the other night, offensively, man, this guy, the guy that's calling this stuff, he's got the pedal to the metal, and they got a kid that can throw it. They got a really good running game, and they can score points in a hurry. They could have scored 70 something the other night.
Right.
And with no question, they could have scored more.
Right.
Am I wrong, or am I just saying that?
No, they were in. Well, I mean, the first play of the game, they picked 6. And then they had a scoop and score, and it was 14-0. Everybody's looking around going, the offense hasn't even been out here. And then once the offense got out there, Penix just boom, boom. I mean, they were just as quick as anything out there. So Washington is a strong contender for the Final Four. I could see Michigan, although it seems like they're just kind of going through the motions, but they're building that toughness. But I will tell you something. Don't give too much credit to the Ohio team. Hold on a second. It takes you 2 plays to go against 10 men from the 1-yard line. Notre Dame had 10 players on the field for 2 plays, and it took the Buckeyes 2 tries to finally get it in there. They realized, hey, there's nobody over here on our left tackle. Now, what is Notre Dame thinking, Lou Holtz? And Coach Days after talking about we're tough. Well, hold on. Really good teams will against 10 men will score a touchdown.
But hey, but tell me this: was
Uh,
that not a top 10 interview after the game with Coach Day?
Yeah, it was. I gave him.
I mean, you have to.
I'll give
Because
him.
he's going to find that 89-year-old man. He's going to punch him in the face.
Where is Lou Holtz? I want to know where he's at. We're tough. We're tough. Okay. You say
I thought I loved it. I absolutely loved it. 11 Notre Dame. I don't know why they kept them ranked at 11th. 12 Alabama. I think Alabama's better than Notre Dame. 13 LSU. I think LSU's better than Notre Dame. Oklahoma's 4-0. It's 14th. I think Oklahoma is a top 10 team. The Tar Heels from North Carolina 4-0. It's really tough for me to say. I don't know where I put them. Are they a top 10 team? I don't think so, but I think they're better than Notre Dame. The Cougars from Washington State. Now again, you're going to stomp on their throat when they're laying down. I want to take Washington State, and I want to take Oregon State. I want to pick them up, and I want them to just kick everybody's teeth in. Now, will that happen at the end of the year? Probably not. But I just think the way that they got treated, the way they are being treated, the things that were said about them, and I admire the heck out of that coach from Washington State. Was that not a great post-game interview? And then the interview he gave yesterday about the disrespect for his program is priceless. Is priceless. The issue with now is everybody knows the guy can coach, but the passion and the emotion that he showed, how long can the only place that I see that Washington State and Oregon State can go to stay Power 5 would be to the Big 12. Is the Big 12 going to take them? They have nowhere else to go. They cannot go to the Big 10. There's no room. The Big 10's already got 18 teams? They can't go to the ACC because how many West Coast trips can they do with the ACC now that you got Cal and Stanford? Much less SMU from Texas.
ACC doesn't care. They'll go West Coast. They'll go across the ocean to Hawaii and maybe into China or something like that. I don't know. Don't say the ACC won't do that because the ACC does some weird stuff now. Where can they? But I agree with you on Oregon State and Washington State going into the Big 12. But the problem is they have taken in so many new teams that right now the Big 12 will be at 17 teams. 17 they've got right now, and then the new additions that are coming from the Pac-12 will make them 17 teams.
So that would make them at 19 if they were to take these two, correct?
Right. And you got to take expansion slowly, or it's a cluster gaggle out there.
Because the one thing that we talked about. Now let me go back and kind of throw this out there, in relation to all of it. But I remember we had a heated discussion where I was very uncomfortable because I thought that you and Jonathan were going to kill each other if you weren't in Winston and he wasn't in Morganton that day. You kept talking about the 24, the number 24. Somebody's going to get to 24. Whoever gets to 24, that's a big deal. And this was a couple of years ago. So is getting 24 teams in your conference now, is that still a thing or is that out the window? Because if somebody's trying to get to that number, there is a place for Washington State and Oregon State. And I will tell you this, they're not going separate. They're going to go together. They've made that statement. They are committed and they are mad.
Well, if I said it's out the window, that makes Jonathan right.
Well, I mean,
So if I stay committed to the number 24, of course, nobody watching the show will tell Jonathan. So I'll say I think it's out the window. I don't know where it goes from here because I didn't anticipate. I knew the Big Ten was looking to be, and they made no bones about it because all the 97.1, the ticket up there. All this rumors were flying about the Big Ten will be the first to expand, the new expansion, which they did. They did USC, UCLA, then came back less than a year and did Oregon and Washington. Okay, so they're all coming in at the same time. Then the ACC threw me for a loop. I didn't anticipate that, so I don't know where we go. I don't know where we're going right now.
All right, let me kind of keep going. I kind of lost the track a little bit, but you got Washington State at 16, Carolina, the University of North Carolina. You know, again, I mean no disrespect to the people at South Carolina. When you was raised here, you just say Carolina, and we all know who we're talking about. But North Carolina's 15. The Cougars from Washington State are 16, and Duke is at 17. Man, Duke looks good. Duke looks really good. Miami is at 18. They are vastly improved. Oregon State took the loss to Washington State the other night. They're at 19, and they're getting better every week with that young man at quarterback. Ole Miss drops down to 20 after that loss at Alabama. The Volunteers are at 3-1 at 21. Florida's at 21. Tennessee's at 21, Florida's at 22, Mizzou is at 23, Kansas is at 24, and Fresno State's at 25. So through our list here, Chuck, the only group of 5 team that I see in here is at 25 is Fresno State. Am I missing something? That's the AP poll.
No.
Am I missing anything?
No. You got them right.
Okay. In the coaches poll, the AFCA coaches poll, I don't, it's here, but the AP poll is kind of the one that I've
out of
myself
polls before we get into November, the committee's poll, that's the only poll we worry about. But from the start of the season to that point, just do the AP because the coaches polls is not really the coaches voting on it. And I don't want some intern voting for a coach that we don't know about. So
yeah. Yep. I can't see Lane taking the time to go vote.
Okay.
No. He's got a tweet to do, and then he's got practice, and then he's got another tweet to do. And,
correct.
And I'm gonna tell you something. His stuff is funny. If you want to read some really cool stuff, go read Lane's stuff. It is really cool what he says, and he's just hilarious. And he can troll these schools like you can't believe. And the thing that he said, and again, I owe him a lot. My family owes him a lot. We love this guy, but the stuff he said about the mustard and the golf balls was just it'll make you cry. You laugh so hard. But conferences, and you're big on the conferences. You're a lot bigger on the conferences than I am because I'm all about the teams. But then when you start cutting down on the SEC, it kills me. So to me, I will say this: Pac-12 is the best conference in the nation right now. I don't care that they don't have somebody in the top 6 from top to mid conference. They're really good. They're really, really, really good. You got to put the Big Ten next. The Big Ten plus, we joke and say 78, but there's 18 teams in the Big Ten. That change your name, but whatever. Is it the Big 12? Is it the SEC that's next?
I think the SEC is next.
All right. So we agree on the Pac-12, yes or no? Today, just for today.
Just for today, yes.
The Big Ten,
I'm not. If I'm going to put a team at second, I'm going to put the SEC. Now, because the voters, the AP voters don't have a favorable opinion of the SEC. The Big Ten is top heavy. Well, not top. Their top teams are 4. There's 4 of them. And then after that, it's bad. So right now, 14 teams in the Big Ten right now, and 4 of them and are strong and 10 are weak. So I have to give you the Big Ten, maybe 3 or 4. I get that they may have a team that could go into the postseason or the Final Four, but I'm looking at the whole conference, and I just don't see the bottom 10. It's top 4 and bottom 10, or bottom 9. Yeah, bottom 10.
All right. So Pac-12, SEC, Big Ten, and do you put the Big 12 or the ACC?
ACC and then the Big 12, and here's why. Just because they tied in at this time 4 weeks into the season. I think it was the 2012 season. 6 SEC teams were undefeated, and 4 weeks into the season, ACC has 4 or 6 teams that are undefeated. One of them's unranked, and I watched their entire game against Boston College on Saturday. And don't sleep on Jeff Brom's Louisville Cardinals. Holy smokes. But this is what happens when you're down, and then it takes time for the voters to kind of, get a handle on how good you are. So I would then go ACC and then the Big 12. Because the Big 12 got teams that you're like, really? You're going to put them in this conference? They was like opening up and saying free spots in our conference. So
that's pretty wild. All right. So again, we can't not talk about 2 things that happened Saturday. A really, really good football game in Clemson, South Carolina. I don't know that it was well played, but it was played hard. Kudos to Florida State. And I don't like to be critical of coaches' decisions, because now that's kind of going to happen in our family. But boy, Dabo did not do a good job of handling those last 3 play calls. Man, you got number 1 back there, and you're not going to run him for a half yard. I don't understand that. I just don't understand that. I'm not saying.
If I read this correctly or heard it correctly, I heard it was Dabo was saying that Klubnik audibled out of the play that they had to that wide receiver screen pass, and I thought,
can I ask you,
if I remember right, he was sitting there yelling at the sidelines and then got up real quick and then got the snap. I didn't see him audibleizing at all.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Even if he did, you're the guy, why would you say that?
That's my point. This is coming.
Why the hell would you say that?
This is a guy that at halftime, when the mic gets in his face, he calls out, as they're going into halftime, he tells a field reporter, he throws his defensive staff under the bus. I'm like, come on, holy smokes. The actions lately of Dabo brings some questions to me. What is going on with him or at Clemson? I have no idea, but it's not the Dabo we knew when things were really good. This is a man that's getting heavy criticism, and it's just, I think he's reacting poorly to it. But either the quarterback audibled out on that last play and threw a bad pass, 1 yard to get, or the play call was to throw it out there. So I don't know.
Yeah, I was a little, again, I don't want to, look, he built something down there that was phenomenal. And they're 3 plays away from being undefeated. But now they're out. They're done for this year playing for a championship.
Well,
they're done.
They want to get their act together, David. They're going up to a place they haven't played well at all, and that's Syracuse, who are 4-0, and watching their game, Schrader. Remember the big tall guy from Charlotte area with the beard that was at Mississippi State? He's the quarterback at Syracuse right now, and he is playing lights out. Phenomenal.
Good deal.
And they're 4-0, and Dino Babers has got them going. So it's Dino versus Dabo. Say that 5 times.
Now,
could you see
go ahead.
2-3?
Can I see what?
Clemson 2-3. What would he get if he went 2-3 and lost up at Syracuse?
I told you this week in a text to our group what I think is going to happen, and I just really sensed that strongly. And we'll talk about that as the season goes on. But I just don't think Dabo's going to be there next year, and I don't think they're not going to fire him. But I think Dabo's there's a lot of things in play here that are bigger than the play calls, and there's a lot of things in play. And he might not be a good fit for this environment of college football. And we'll talk about that maybe next week. Colorado walks into Oregon. And if you saw the pregame and the intensity with which the Oregon coach talked to his team, and I loved what he said. I don't have one iota of a problem for what he said. Skip Bayless, I read and saw a little thing on YouTube about his reaction to it. Skip Bayless, you're a jerk. Yeah, you're a disgrace to athletics. And Chuck, if if you like him, that's up to, and I've never asked you that, but he is a loudmouth jerk. Nothing on earth that coach said was anything but what a coach in his position should have said. We're playing for wins. They're playing for clicks.
Right.
And then when you sent me that video, and I wish I was good enough on our StreamYard where I could show the pregame out there. If I'm Oregon, dude, I'm going to win the football game, and I'm going to tell you about it before, during, and after, because that pregame was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I'll throw it to you.
Yeah. First of all, and the video came from Deuce. Deuce showed it to me. I didn't see it. And when I saw
Deuce showed it to you?
Deuce, and I said, send that to me. I'm going to send it to you.
What's up, Deuce?
Deuce has got some stuff he gets. I mean, CIA stuff around here. We kind of worry about what Deuce gets. He's got that black phone. Never mind. So anyhow, he showed me that, and I didn't realize the trash talking and the stuff that was going on before the game. That made sense about what Dan Lanning said, the head coach at Oregon. Yes. I would not have said that to Dan Lanning. I mean, if I was Dan Lanning, and I would not have said that. That's the point. I just think it was just uncalled for. But everybody's, taking their shots at Deion. But here's the thing to me going, from the game. It is hard to play back-to-back rivalry games, back-to-back highly emotional, intense games. It's hard. Yes. The Colorado Buffaloes did it 3 straight times. They have rejuvenated Colorado, the university, town, city, and everything.
College football.
Right, college football.
College football.
I said, in 5 years, how many times have they played on national television? They played 4 games this year on national television. They played 1 in 5 years.
And the 5th is this week.
Right.
I don't have a problem with Coach Sanders because, look, if they had an offensive line, that's their deficiency when you're just talking about football. Okay, forget all the other stuff. When you're talking just about football, they don't have an offensive line to compare with what they're playing against the defensive fronts. They do everything else well. They got a quarterback that, I don't care that his last name is Sanders. The kid's special. They got kids on the edge that can make some plays. They got a tight end that, to me, is going to be a top 5 draft pick. You got a freshman, that true freshman running back is he might be generational.
Right.
But the 5 guys up front aren't that good. And that's what hurt them against Oregon, because it goes back to the deal that's happening here on the Hill. They didn't get to hold football a whole lot on Saturday.
Well, my take on this was I understand it now completely. And I take the comment you made last week when we were talking about Colorado, and you said, and all the players want to play for him. At the end of the day, what Dan Lanning did was all but Oregon players want to go play for him, because he got them so riled up at what they did, and they were classless, and they're getting all the attention, and you're not. But we're going to we're going to make them tote an ass whipping. And he did, 42-0.
Oh yeah, when he went for 2.
So when you say that all the players want to go play with him, I agree with you. After this weekend, all but Oregon players. So
that's well said.
Right. So he's keeping his kids from wanting to go transfer to Colorado. He's not going to lose
his receipts.
He's not going to lose any players.
Yeah.
So, but the bottom line to all this is that I thought the comment itself by Dan Lanning could have been left out. I get what he said. I would have not done that. I go shake a hand, win, lose, or draw, send him on home. If you want analysis of the game, good. If you want personal opinions, go ask him. Don't ask me. I get my team ready. And we played great today. And that's all he had to say.
Now, let me ask you this, and I'm going to put you and me on the spot.
Uh-oh.
No, this is not about. It's the only time that I now, personally, that I ever turned any of my devices, televisions, or anything on ESPN is just to watch a live sporting event.
Okay.
I think the rest of it is just it's a joke. It just is. It's not Keith and Dan with Sports Center, in the late '80s and the early '90s when they, it was pretty cool. I don't even watch Sports Center because there's not a lot of stuff to hear or see. But I say that the reason is College Game Day. College Game Day to me used to be must-see TV, and there's a personal thing here when I say this, and again, it's different when you are involved, and it affects you. So my personal feelings for years were, man, I did not like David Pollock, and personally, I mean, he did something one time that I'll never forget. I'll never ever forget it, and I don't know that I could ever forgive what he said during the lead up to the Georgia-Tennessee game when my kid was a senior. That to me was uncalled for, but and it hurt it hurt Jonathan's grandmother. It hurt me. It hurt my dad, who's in heaven, because that was my family's last name he was talking about and making when he said that comment with Jonathan's jersey. Out there and threw for 5 or 6 touchdowns and kicked his ass. But that's another story. I say that to say that I can't believe that they got rid of David Pollock from Game Day to keep the stuff that they got going on there now. I'm not saying they're bad people at all. That's not. But the show itself is really. It's there's not a lot of substance to it. It's all like little 5-minute things of just flash and dash. There's no substance to it. Or am I wrong?
Well, I don't watch it. I stopped watching it about 10 years ago. and 10 years ago with Pollock, Corso, Herb Street, drove me nuts.
Pollock
And
was better than anybody on there besides Reese I've got my COVID brain. Uh,
Desmond,
Desmond is brilliant,
right.
and I thought Pollock was next.
Pollock was, I think Pollock, when he did that incident with your son, which was an atrocious move and trying to be funny and wasn't funny at all. And it backfired on him because he had to end up wearing that Tennessee jersey. But I think he learned his lesson and settled down. But when ESPN made cuts, they cut a lot of people out of ESPN. You know, again, you go back, ESPN and Disney lost together under that umbrella $8 billion. So ESPN is not financially healthy. So they had to make cuts in their staffs and everything, the way they do things. I felt 10 years ago, 2013, I thought when all the other, the SEC Nation pregame show, the Big Ten pregame show, I'd watch them if I was going to watch a pregame show. But to me, it got to the point where same old shtick, just a different day and a different location. And nothing has changed. It's like repeating just with different names for 20 years. And you kind of get, okay. And this is all going to end with the guy putting a hat on, a mascot hat. Come on. It's not fresh. And so I stopped watching all game days or college game day about 10 years ago. So I don't watch it. I can't speak intelligently except for maybe bits and pieces while I'm channel surfing from one thing to the other and see. But it got to the point was it been the last 5 years? Of course, I couldn't talk. And
that's yeah.
But see, that's the problem with the ESPN game day producers. Look, we have to face this. Nobody can understand what he's saying. He makes a joke, and Herb Street stands there and laughs at it, and we don't even know what he said. So anyhow, I don't know. It's just a matter of, I think the game day shows have run its course, unless you got some kind of new version of it.
Well, I did flip over the last 2 weeks, and the Fox show is okay. They got Meyer on there, Urban. Not a fan at all of him, but those other guys, they're pretty good. The guy that used to be the quarterback at Notre Dame, Brady Quinn, he's pretty good. The guy from Southern Cal, the quarterback, the left-handed guy that won the Heisman, he's pretty good. The host, he's pretty good. And Ingram that won the Heisman down at Alabama, he's pretty good.
He's from Flint.
Yeah, and he's a good football player. And they did that segment. Was it you that told me? Where the guy came out there and said, run over me. And he said, no, I don't want to do that. And he said, run over me. And they gave him the ball, and he trucked him like live on national television and left this guy laying there and said, man, I told you, when I have the football in my hand, it's not a game. And
Right.
that guy's laying on the ground. He's crumpled up in the fetal position. But that's it's a pretty good show. And it has some substance to it. And a lot of the guys from the old ESPN game day, the Bear is now on there, and he does a good job. Who's Rinaldi that used to do all the really good human interest stories?
Yeah, Tom.
He's there. Yeah, Tom Rinaldi's there. He does a great job. So times change and stuff, but man, that show. And again, when I say that about Pollock, that was pretty bad. But he did a really good job as the years went on at ESPN.
Well, I watch Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives and 90 Day Fiance up to game time, and then I turn it at 12, and then it just doesn't go away from the game. I don't watch.
What is 90 Day Fiance? I honestly don't know. What's 90 Day Fiance, Chuck?
Seriously.
So
the greatest show. No, I'm only kidding. Now, my wife watches that.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to watch that, but Bottom of the eighth in Baltimore, still up 1-0 over the Nationals. Hope they can win this one for Brooksy. But gonna have a really big show Thursday night, Chuck. We're gonna do a ton of Mountain 7 football. Get your predictions on everything, and let's kind of see where the Mountaineers are heading into a massive contest for them on Friday night.
We will have our NIL guy on and to talk, and
Okay.
also on the athletic board at Western Carolina, so it'd be great inside scoop on Western Carolina football. So
Yeah.
we'll have that, and he was one of the guys that went up to see Marty Clark. They're wanting to do something special, and so maybe he'll have that arranged. If not, we'll just forego that until they do. But we'll have him out there too. But we'll cover West. It'll be time to cover the boys on Friday night.
Yeah, and before we get off here, just we're gonna have a big tailgate this week as we start getting prepared for the Tuscola Pisgah tailgate, which is going to be massive. So I'm thinking to satisfy what Janet says, she tells me quit overdoing it. So we're going to have a lot of great sides. We're going to have some hamburgers and hot dogs this Friday. And everybody come on down to the shop, and we'll have hamburgers, hot dogs, great sides. This time I'm gonna talk Janet into making her potato salad and baked beans, and everybody will eat that before they'll eat anything else because it's world famous. And before we go, I thought about you and Angie. I made a roast in potatoes and carrots the other day, and I said to myself, "This is pretty darn good." And
Good.
Janet said, "This is pretty darn good." But I will admit, and I will admit, and I hope my mother is not watching when I say this because this will cause me to be in trouble. You can make the heck out of a roast, dude. Your roast and potatoes are different level.
If I just now get an apron, a stylish apron to cook in the kitchen, I'll be all set.
I got the aprons, baby. They're down at the shop. I got 2 of them.
Okay.
The problem is, one of them my granddaughter got for me. What's the name of that? Bucky? Is it Bucky's? The convenience store thing, Bucky's.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what it is. Jenny, Bucky's. It's those big, massive convenience stores that people go to, and they're crazy.
Right.
Avery got me one from Bucky's, and it's red with black writing, so I can't wear it any longer. Thank you, Austin Chambers. I can't wear my stuff anymore.
Well, I'll take it because I got peeps that love me over on the other side too. I'm a equal opportunity sports guy.
Well, anyway, I am not. I am not. So anyway, great show tonight. Just again on a personal thing, man, Brooks Robinson. That just Brooks Robinson. What a guy. Forget the baseball, man. Just what a guy. He carried himself the right way, and he is Baltimore Oriole baseball. He is Mr. Oriole. So. Great night in Major League Baseball. Going to have a great week in college football. Got a big, fun week coming up on Friday Night Lights, and big week in Mountain 7. And come on, let's get those Mountaineers healthy. So, Chuck, I will talk to you Thursday. Anything before we get out of here?
Sutton and Sons Antiques, Orchard Coffee, and Crompton Auto Mart. Please go patrons, our sponsors. We'd greatly appreciate that.
And get ready for the bonfire, buddy.
All right.
All right. See you guys. Everybody have a great night. Good night.